Hello. In this video, I'm giving you guys a free program. So I write programs for work for my clients. So my plan is just to kind of make them free available for you as well. So too long didn't watch. This is a 7-day advanced program with lots of supersets, lots of work, lots of volume. So I would not run this if you're new to the gym, but if you've been around a while and you really want to take the next step and you want to train every day, then this is the program for you. But yeah, that's too long didn't watch. It's in the description. It's just a Google sheet. So everything you need to know is there. But if you're interested in kind of the logic behind the program, like what we're up to, what we're doing, then just stick around, have a listen. And if not, then you can go on your way, or you can go check the description and actually just take the program for yourself. Cool. Okay, so yeah, it's a 7-day program. Basically, it's upper lower, upper lower, upper lower, with arms squeezed in as kind of a rest day. So this client who I made this program for, he wants to train 7 days a week, but we both agreed that it would probably be better for him to have a easier day, just sort of not a rest day, but just a day where it's like you come in, you train arms, you have a good day, and you go home. You're not stressed about freaking Bulgarian split squats or whatever on that day. And the basic structure, yeah, like I say, is upper lower with kind of a focus on something. Maybe it's a push focus or a pull focus, but almost a little bit full body-ish for the upper, full upper. And then the lower is a bit more calm and a bit more focused. So let's just jump into it, and I'll kind of talk you through my logic as we go. So we start on Monday with an upper body with kind of a more push focus. So we've got 3 sets of, Jesus, this fucking fly is attacking me. 3 sets of 5 to 10 overhead press, barbell overhead press. So rep range, pretty standard rep range for a compound movement. 3 sets I think is about right for a program like this. If you were training less often per week, you might take it to 4 or even maybe 5. But I think because you're training 7 days a week, I think 3 sets is more than enough, especially because we've got more stuff coming up. And then yeah, rep range, a 5 to 10 evolving rep range, which means that you or the client, or you if you take this program, can progress through the rep range without having to add weight, or you can add weight, kind of up to you, as long as you're in that 5 to 10. And it also means that you're not stressed if you drop off reps, so maybe first set's 10, second set's 9, third set's 8, no problem, you're still in that rep range. Now, the notation here of this program, if you've got it pulled up, is just as 3 dots, that's just to indicate, or 3 dashes, sorry, that's just to indicate it's a superset. So we're supersetting that with barbell shrugs. The idea is that it's kind of up to you, especially if you're resting long between overhead press. You could take the bar down, maybe overhead pressing the squat rack, you take the bar down and shrug with it, or you can use another bar, totally up to you. 3 sets, 5 to 10, heavy shrugs. I think shrugs are best done heavy and hard. Honestly, even with a little bit of cheating, or quote unquote cheating, where you just yeet it to the top and then catch it. So this is a nice superset to overhead press. I've personally tried this superset, and I found it doesn't affect your overhead press really at all. So just a good way to get some extra trap volume in. Then we move on to dumbbell bench. So this is a relatively standard way of structuring a push day, where you maybe have a vertical movement and a flat movement, and you swap around, barbell and dumbbell, so you kind of get the best of all worlds. So we've had a vertical barbell, and now we're going to a horizontal dumbbell. 4 sets. I think I was happy to add an extra set here because there's no axial fatigue. We're lying down. So 4 sets, 10 to 15. I think slightly higher rep ranges on dumbbells tend to go pretty well because it means you can position the dumbbells easier. The other thing is this guy, so the dumbbells at my gym go to 40, and this guy's pretty close to maxing them out, so we need to give him a higher rep range so he can keep progressing. But for yourself, it should still work, because dumbbells, yeah, like I say, if you can do more reps, it means you use lighter dumbbells, which means you can position easier. And then we're just supersetting this to a weighted Russian twist. So I had a client the other day ask me, I liked his vibe, where he was like, isn't a Russian, because we're talking about, he's like, isn't the Russian twist a fake kind of bullshit exercise? And I'm like, well, it is fake if you don't use weight. So if you just sit there and do your 20 reps of Russian twist with no weight, then yeah, you're not going to grow shit. But if you take a 20 kg plate and move side to side with it, you will feel your obliques on fire. So yeah, good quality ab exercise, and an easy superset with a dumbbell bench, because you don't need abs on the bench. So you can just sit next to it with your weight and then jump back on. Then we go to bodyweight dips. So this is kind of our last chest movement of the day, basically, but a little bit of tricep as well. I really like dips. I think they're so good. I think they're good for the shoulder. I think they feel comfortable. If they feel comfortable, they're really, really good. And then you notice that it's quite a big rep range here, 5 to 20. That's just to allow multiple people to use the program, because if you are very strong for your body weight, you can do sets of 20, and I think that's not a problem. I think you'll get value out of that. And if you're relatively weak for your body weight, you can do 5, not a problem either. So just a big rep range to allow multiple people to use it. But of course, as with all the rep ranges, you can drop down as you go. I, for example, get pretty big rep drop off on dips. So they drop pretty hard for me, and that's totally fine, because I'd still be within this rep range. Then we have Lou raises. You may also know these as like super range of motion laterals or full ROM side raise or whatever. It's just the dumbbell raise up to here. I think this makes a good superset to the bodyweight dips. It doesn't really affect them much. It doesn't take a lot out of you, but it will give you some extra side delt volume. 15 to 20, so it's pretty high rep range, but I could like the high rep range on these. I think it's nice to use smaller dumbbells above your head, just because it's a bit more unstable and it feels comfortable. Still though, you'll get a pretty nasty pump out of these, and they'll feel pretty good, and your side delts will be pretty cooked up. Then we go to bodyweight chin-ups. So same thing, logic with the rep range, 5 to 20, because I just want people to be able to progress within it based on how strong you are relative to body weight. Then we got that superset into face pulls. I figure face pulls, they just don't really affect your chin-ups very much, and they're kind of an exercise you can almost plug in anywhere. They don't affect anything very much, but they just give you a little bit of extra side delts. And I say side delts because your side delts will be a bit tired from the loo raises, and of course some rear delt volume, which is great. Then we go to incline dumbbell curls, supersetted to incline shrugs. This is just a superset that makes a bunch of sense. You've got the incline curls. First of all, incline curls I think are a great exercise. Big stretch on the bicep, and if you're smart without don't let the elbow go too far forward, you can really grind out some reps on this exercise, and it feels great. 8 to 12 rep range, I think this is a good rep range for them. You don't need to do super duper heavy. In fact, I probably wouldn't want to, because it can feel, when you're at that very deep stretch, if it's super heavy, it can feel a bit sus. But equally, I think you don't need to do that much more than 12. I think 12 is a good intensity window for hypertrophy training. So yeah, that's the logic with the 8 to 12. 3 sets, I think that's just a reasonable amount of sets. We don't need tons of biceps today. We've got other biceps coming up. And we're supersetting this to incline shrugs, which I think is just a superset that makes sense, because you're on an incline bench already. You can literally just turn around, have another pair of dumbbells, and shrug. So yeah, a bit of extra trap volume there, and a super easy superset. Then we go into our leg day, Tuesday. So we start with pause. ATG is just ass to grass. You probably know that, but pause ass to grass squat, 3 sets, 4 to 8. So the idea is this is just a heavy pause day. 4 to 8 is a nice big range to progress through. I think 4 is probably as low as you would reasonably go for hypertrophy training. And then 8 is probably as high as you'd really want to go for pause squats, because it's going to take a long time. If you're pausing for 3 seconds at the bottom of each one, by the time you're done 8, you've been squatting for a while. So I think this is a decent rep range to go through. And we're just supersetting that to dumbbell finger curls. I think you probably want to rest quite a long time between these pause squats because they take a lot out of you. But equally, dumbbell finger curls don't take shit out of you. So you can literally just be chilling. You're taking a 3-minute rest, which is going to be helpful for your squats. And then you can just do your finger curls and get a little bit of extra forearm volume. Then we go... so the idea of this day is it's supposed to be a little bit of an easier leg day, because we've got 2 hours coming up that are not so easy. So that's our only compound for the day. Then we just go straight into some nice chill isolation for the legs. This is not the way you're going to get huge legs, but it does add. It's like the cherry on top, So we just go do some leg extensions. Higher reps on these. I think for most people, myself included, leg extensions can feel a little sus if you do them very heavy, especially at the top on the knee. And especially at my gym, the leg extension machine's a bit... So 4 sets. I think there's nothing wrong with doing an extra set here. These are not going to cost you much. There's no axial fatigue. It's just a great way of getting volume for the quads with no axial fatigue. So 4 sets, 15 to 20. And then we're supersetting that with reverse curls. So once again, the logic is you can just take your reverse curl, easy bar reverse curls, I should say. They feel really nice with the thumbless grip. You're just going to take your easy bar over to the leg extension, and you can just knock these supersets out super easily. It's not going to take much out of you, and you're just going to get a bunch of forearm volume in, which is great. Then we go to a hamstring curl. Same sort of logic. The idea is just to get some good hamstring isolation with no axial fatigue. Same logic about the rep range as well. And then we're just going to superset that to lying leg raises. And the reason I'm doing lying leg raises, in a lot of gyms, the hamstring curl is not going to be near something you can hang off, mine is as well. So you just take a little dumbbell with you and you do your lying leg raises. Now, some of you guys might have done lying leg raises in the past in like some sort of ab circuit or something before you realized ab circuits didn't do anything. And you're like, what, lying leg raises aren't that great of an exercise. I will say though, if you hold a dumbbell between your feet, suddenly lying leg raises are pretty crazy. So I think it's a really good exercise, and you can progress. You can get strong on this. I've done lying leg raises with an 8 kg, and you're like, 8 kg, cool, bro. my grandma lifts more than that. But 8 kg between your legs for a leg raise, like in between your feet, is pretty heavy, and it really tears your abs to shreds. So I like that exercise. And then we're just finishing the day with some calf raise. Just get some calf volume in. Easy exercise, not going to take a lot out of you, but it's important to train calves. And that's just going to be supersetted to weighted sit-ups. Yeah, sit-ups are a great ab exercise. I was tempted to write decline sit-ups here because I think decline sit-ups are even better, but a lot of gyms don't have a decline, or if they do, it's not going to be near the calf raise. Whereas what's nice about this is you can just take your dumbbell or a plate, whatever you're using to weight your sit-ups, and just do it right next to the calf raise. You don't even have to move. So yeah, that's our Tuesday. A relatively calm leg day, just with some extra forearm and ab volume tossed in the supersets. Then we move on to our pull day. This is Wednesday. We're deadlifting, and these are conventional deadlifts, not Romanians. Don't worry, those will come. This is just to build some lower back strength. I think it's good to deadlift because I'll probably make a whole video about this, but it's just going to unlock some of your other exercises for you. It's going to mean that you never have to worry about not being able to start your Romanian deadlifts. It means that your back's going to be strong for your overhead presses. If you want to do barbell rows, that'll be there for you. It just unlocks other exercises. You'll notice this is the only exercise in the entire program I'm including an RPE on because I want these deadlifts to be chill. Because the next day you're doing stiff leg RDLs and you cannot have a cooked back for that. So these are going to be chill RP 6 or 7 deadlifts. The only thing in the entire program that's RPE'd, just to kind of keep the deadlift pattern in your brain and keep the lower back strong. Supersetted those to dumbbell side raises. Just a bit of extra side delt volume here. Side delts can benefit from a lot of volume. And you should be resting a long time between your deadlifts anyway, but if your side delt shouldn't tire you out. And the rep range for those is just 10 to 15. I think kind of on the higher end, but not super duper high, is probably what you want for a lot of isolation movements, side raises especially, because it means that you aren't worried about like hurting your joint with like sets of 5, but equally you're not just doing stupid pump work for sets of 30. Then we go to dumbbell rows, superset to face pulls. I think dumbbell rows are just a really amazing row variation. They give you, I think, all of the benefits of a barbell row in terms of like free weights, deep stretch, all that stuff, but with none of the axial fatigue, none of the tiredness in the lower back. And they also have some like, what's the word? What am I trying to look for? Like therapeutic benefits because they train scapular retraction, which can make you stronger on the bench and that sort of stuff. So really like dumbbell rows. 3 sets, 8 to 12. I think 8 to 12 is just a standard hypertrophy rep range. No reason to change it up here. And just enough reps that we can progress to 4 rep window, so you can progress through that no problem. And you're unlikely to drop out of it. If you do your first set, it's 12, and you do your last set, it's 8. Something's probably gone a little wrong. Then we have face pulls. Once again, we talked about this a bit before. You can just toss them anywhere. At my gym, especially, the dumbbell area is right next to a cable area, so it's super duper easy superset. And just a bit of extra volume for the side delts and the rear delts. And once again, we've pre-fatigued a little bit out side delts, so we're going to get mostly side delt out of this, which is good. Then we go to pull-ups, supersetted to dips. At my gym, the dip thing, I think at a lot of gyms, the dip station and the pull-up station are like on top of each other, so it's a real easy, convenient superset. Dips here just to give us a little bit of extra chest volume. This program was a little low on chest volume, and I wanted to include something for that. Once again, great exercise. I kept the rep range. Ideally, it would be nice to vary your rep range, but because I'm making a program for multiple people, I don't know how many reps they would be getting. And I don't want to force people to do weighted dips because a lot of people aren't used to them or don't have a weight belt. So just bodyweight dips, and you can just choose your reps. If you want to make this, if you have a weight belt, you can make this a heavier day if you want. So yeah, decent superset there, 4 sets of each. Good lat volume, good chest volume, good times. Then we move into easy bar curl. So this is some heavy bicep work for us. 3 sets of 5 to 8. I think biceps should be trained here. They should be trained light sometimes, 10 to 15, which we'll come to later, or literally the next exercise. But I think biceps should be trained heavy, like almost like compound style, where you lock in, you put on your fucking loud music, and you train them hard to failure. So that's what this is basically. 3 sets of 5 to 8. That's the purpose. Then we go to cable overhead tricep extension. So this I do with a staggered stance away from a cable machine, rope over my head. This is just to give us some long head over tricep work, which I think is really important. It shouldn't be super taxing, shouldn't be super hard. You should just feel your long head of your tricep exploding, basically. So I think that works quite well for a superset. And once again, because you can move the easy bar anyway, you can just plonk it right next to the cable station and you convenient superset, you don't have to move. And then the exact same logic for the next set. We're doing some higher reps on the dumbbells to get more of a pump now that we've done our heavy work. And then we're supersetting that with cable French press. So that's just behind you. You're standing vertical now. Same thing. Easy long head of a tricep work. And you should be able to move your dumbbells to a cable station. So it's a convenient superset. That's the end of our Wednesday. Then we go into Thursday. So this is a hard leg day. And you'll see why. It's only 5 exercises, but they're all hard. So we start with Astragas squat for volume now. So this is 8 to 12, changing up our rep range. By the time you get to the end of a set of 12 squats, you are tired, but you've got a lot of value. So 3 sets of that, no superset. You could, look, if you are chilling, you could superset something here, but I think a lot of people, myself included, you finish a set of 12 on a squat and you just need some real rest. Excuse me. So yeah, we are doing those, and then we're moving into dumbbell Bulgarians. So this is some extra quad work. Once again, no superset, 8 to 12. Pretty much the same logic. It's high rep, it's tough, you don't need a superset. But you could if you want to. Like if you're fiending after this, you still got energy, you can. But I think most people, you can just do that as a straight set. Then we have stiff leg RDLs. So I think that for bodybuilding purposes, this is probably the best hamstring movement that exists. So we have the RDL style where we're not touching it to the ground, so we get that real like we can't bounce off the ground or anything. We're forced to like stretch at the bottom, and then stiff leg to mean that we get a stretch on the hamstring as well. I think stiff leg RDLs are like the best style, honestly, for bodybuilding purposes. 3 sets of 8 to 12, same rep range, very, very easy to remember rep ranges on this day. It's all just 3 sets of 8 to 12, and same logic. I think you can superset with RDLs, but once again, I think probably it would be nice to have a day where you can just do some straight sets. But then we are going to finish off with a superset because we've got calves, seated calf raises, although at my gym, this guy will have to do standing because we don't have a seated calf raise. Unless you can rig up something in the Smith machine or put a barbell on your legs, but I think probably there's no harm in just doing an extra set of standing. And then just supersetting that with some finger curls, barbell finger curls. Super easy, you can just move a barbell to the calf station and just get a bit of extra, like, nobody's super duper fucked from calf raises, so you can get some extra forearm volume in with no extra cost. So that's our Thursday. Then we're going to move along to Friday. So this is another upper day. We start with bench, barbell bench, 3 sets, 5 to 10. So kind of moderate to heavy work on the bench. I think this is a good rep range for barbell bench. You're not going super duper high reps and like losing technique, but equally you're not doing like, sets of 3 for like powerlifting purposes, just 5 to 10. And supersetting that with some hammer curls. So a little bit of bicep volume, a little bit of forearm volume, but nothing crazy. 3 sets of those, 8 to 12. I think that's just a decent hypertrophy rep range. When in doubt, like if the way I like to think about it, if I don't have a compelling reason not to, 8 to 12 is just a good place to go. And I think there's no real reason to do anything weirdly different here. So 8 to 12 on the hammer curl, no problem. Then we go to our barbell overhead press. 3 sets of 5 to 10. Slightly lower rep range than we did on because we did these on Monday. And we did them, 10 to 15. Sorry, I should say we did, so 5 to 10. So my bad, no, it's the same rep range. Could possibly have changed that rep range up now that I read over this, but I think, for now it's totally fine. 5 to 10, and we're just supersetting that with shrugs. It's honestly the exact same set we did to start on Monday. This time, we'll probably be a little bit weaker because we're benched first, and that's not a problem. We'll just have to account for that in our programming, and then probably the way your weeks would go is you'd be up, down, but hopefully on an angle as you get stronger. Then we move to neutral grip pull-ups. So we're just changing up our pull-up style. We've got chin-ups, pull-up, neutral grip, and overhand. 4 sets of 4 to 8. So this, I wrote 4 to 8 here because I'm wanting this to be weighted. I acknowledge if you don't have a weight belt, because we talked about it a bit before, you can just do this for higher reps, but it would be nice to get some weighted pull-up work in. And then we just superset that with some side raises, 15 to 20, just get some volume in for the side delts like we've talked about, they can handle it. And they want it. And then we've just got a machine or cable row, whatever you have available, whatever you prefer. 3 sets, 8 to 12. Just get a bit of extra volume in when I was having a look at this program, we'll have a look at the stats afterwards. I was noticing that there wasn't that much upper back work, and this seemed like a good spot to just pop it in. But not too crazy, no axial fatigue, because you're doing it on a machine, but just get some work in for the upper back. And we're supersetting that to hanging leg raises, I think hanging leg raises are a fantastic ab movement. And I think this is not a bad place to put them. You're not going to be super tired after your machine rows, so you can do those. Of course, one thing to note with this program is straps. We'll talk about that a bit at the end. Straps are going to be helpful. So hopefully you're doing all this with straps so you're not having to worry about grip. Because don't worry, there's enough forearm training anyway that your forearm's going to get jacked. And then we finish with cable flies supersetted to hanging leg raises. Sorry, I should say one of these should be knee raises and one of them should be leg raises. Let me just fix that here. This last one should be knee raises. There we go. That makes a lot more sense. So you're now tired from hanging leg raises and you're switching into knee raises, which are a little bit easier, but just as good, I think. And switching that with cable flies. So it's just a bit of isolation work for the chest. We're a bit low on chest sets. It's not a bad place to put it. Just at the end of a push day, you're a bit tired, but you can still do a bit of isolation work. It's not going to kill you. And you get some bonus abs at the end as well. And 15 to 20 is pretty high rep range, but I tend to find flies go well in a high rep range. And your chest is going to be pretty tired from some heavy presses, so there's no point risking any injury or anything at the end of a session with super low reps. Just do some high reps, get a pump, and feel good. Then Saturday, arms back and chill. So this is the day it's supposed to be kind of calm day at the office. So we're just starting with machine or cable row. So whatever you didn't do yesterday, you do the other one here. So if you did machine row yesterday, do cable row today, or vice versa. And we're just supersetting that to a strap dead hang. And I put strapped here because I want it to be clear. This is not actually for forearms. This is just like to decompress the spine. You're chilling out. You're supposed to be having a good day. Just literally hang between your sets. Look, you could skip this and it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I think a dead hang is really good, and I wanted to find a place to put it, especially if you're doing so much work for the lower back. And you'll see when we go into the stats, there's a lot of work for the lower back in this program. Then we're moving into the kind of standard arm day stuff. So easy bar skull crushers, superset to easy bar curls. V-bar push down superset to cable curls, French press superset to hammer curls, and then we've just got some forearms to finish off finger curls superset to reverse curls. So one thing I put at the end here is that these are all supersets, but if you want this to be a real chill day, like you're hanging out with your mates, so it's a Saturday, you've got 2 hours to train, you don't even have to superset this. It would be a lot of exercises to do in a row, but they're all very calm and easy and fun. They're just nice arm exercises. So you could just not superset if you wanted. If you had some more time that day, it's a Saturday, you're chilling. Just don't superset and just enjoy the day. Enjoy getting a pump with your homies. Just in terms of rep ranges here, relatively high reps at isolation movements. And in terms of exercise selection, we've got a V-bar push down, just for like big, heavy tricep work. Whatever heads, I forget the names of the heads, medial and lateral, or whatever heads of a tricep, just normal tricep, basically. And then after that, we've got the French press for long head. So we've got basically all tricep work we need today, and then some biceps coming in. And the hammer curls to give us a little bit of bonus forearm work at the same time as biceps. I really like hammer curls. And it's like, people are like, oh, but they're more of a forearm exercise than a bicep exercise. It doesn't actually matter. Like, either way, you're winning. If you feel it more in your forearms, that's okay. We like forearm work. And if you feel it more in your biceps, that's fine as well. Probably on this day, reason I put it last is to kind of bias it towards the bicep side, because your bicep is going to be cooked, so you'll probably feel it a little bit more in the biceps. But yeah, this is supposed to be just a nice chill day. Come in, train arms, have a good day. Because the next day, you're not going to have a good day. Next day is kind of a very similar day to our previous lower day. We're barbell squatting, but this time it's not for volume. This time it's heavy. Strength work, 4 to 6. You're just getting strong and working hard. I really like this. I should note here that these are ATG squats. Just like before, all squats in this program are ATG. I just think it's better. More range of motion, more stretch, more hypertrophy, basically. 3 sets of 4 to 6. I've been doing my squats in this rep range recently, and I've been really enjoying it. I really, really feel the benefits. Then we go into barbell Bulgarians. This is a great underrated movement, I think. You can do, it's a little bit like dumbbells and barbells for other exercises. You can do more weight, basically, and you can challenge yourself in a bit of a different fashion. I like barbell and dumbbell. I think they're both fantastic. And that's why they're both in this program on our different days. And especially on a 7-day-a-week program, you tend to have to use more exercise variations because you have to train more often. You can't just do the same thing every day. So I think a barbell Bulgarian is excellent. 8 to 12, I think, is a good rep range. I have done it lower reps at 5. Things start to feel a little sus, especially if you're strong. And I have been strong in this before, and I am now. If you're strong and you're doing a very, very heavy barbell Bulgarian because it's a 5, you start to feel that if you zig when you should have zagged, something might pop. But equally, I wouldn't go much higher than 12 because these can get a little cardio-y. So I think 8 to 12 is just a good rep range for these. Then we go into our stiff leg RDLs. These are just heavier. Same movement as we did on our previous leg day, but just heavy rather than light. And then we just pretty similar vibes to our last day. We finish with a calf raise, supersetted to just some accessory work. So in this case, it's standing calves, 10 to 15, to just a slightly different rep range. Supersetted to snatch grip barbell shrugs. I think these are one of the best trap exercises that exist. The snatch grip really emphasizes the traps. And once again, you can do these with a bit of a cheat. You just yeet it to the top and then they kind of catch it on the way down. Yeah, good way to end the day there. And let's just have a quick look. There's an info tab at the bottom of the spreadsheet. And what I included there, mostly for my own interest while we're writing the program to make sure I was writing the program well, but also just for your interest as well, is we have the sets per week of each muscle group, both in compound and isolation, and then just the total. So I did a little bit of magic here where I counted, depending on how I feel about it, I counted some compounds as half or a third for a muscle. As an example, I counted over bench as half a set, or sorry, a third of a set for triceps, because it's not a tricep movement, but triceps really are working. And similarly, I counted like the deadlifts as 3 sets of deadlifts as 1 set for the upper back, right? So what's that, a third of a set each time? So a little bit of kind of a magic there, but it just kind of helps to understand how many sets you're doing of each thing, especially for me writing a program. And you'll know, like, look, if you do there's 3 sets of deadlift, it is a bit of work for the upper back, even though accounting exactly how much work it is, like compared to an isolation set, is a bit tough. But I think it just gives us an idea, it puts us in the ballpark of how much work we're doing. So we'll just quickly run through it here. We're doing 18 sets of quads a week. So the legs are definitely going to blow up. Most of that, this is kind of the way I think quads should be. Most of it's from compound, and then we've just got those 4 sets of leg extension for isolation. Then we've got hamstrings, only 12 sets for hamstrings, but I think hamstrings tend to recover a bit slower. And I also think the stimulus and fatigue of those RDLs is so high, we don't need to do much more. So 12 sets, 8 from compounds and 4 from the curls. Glutes, 24 sets. Now, the thing with glutes, which is kind of funny, is we're not isolating them at all. We're not even trying to train them, but they've still got 24 sets, which is the most of everything in the program except for lower back. So like your glutes are going to be fine. You're going to get caked up even though we're not even trying. That's just the nature of the glutes working on basically everything. They're going to work on your squats. We're going to work on your Bulgarians. They're going to work on your RDLs. Calves, we have 12, no compound work for calves. I'm not sure if it's possible. 12 sets of isolation, 12 sets of calves. You could argue we could do more, but I think it's a pretty full program. I think your calves will grow from 3 trainings a week, so I think that's okay. Then we go to lower back. Once again, we're not isolating the lower back because we're not psychos, but we've still got 25 sets, most of anything in the program. And that's just because we're doing standing military press. So we're overhead pressing, we're using our lower back. We're doing RDLs, definitely using our lower back. We're deadlifting, we're definitely using our lower back. We're squatting. Even on Bulgarians, we're using our lower back, especially with barbell ones. So we don't need to touch the lower back and it's going to get huge. Front delts, no isolation. I don't think it's necessary to isolate the front delts because as you'll see, we've got 16 sets from compounds. So for this, I counted the bench as like half a set and the dips as like half a set, but then I counted obviously overhead press as a full set for sure. So yeah, 16 sets of front delts. I think that's perfectly enough. I think your front delts will grow, especially for those overhead press. Then we have 19 sets of side delts. So I counted the overhead press as a set for side delts, and then I of course counted the side raises and the loo raises. So yeah, 19 sets, plenty, mostly from isolation. I think that's how the side delts like to be, but they're still getting good love from the compounds from a military press. Rear delts, just 6 sets. Basically, those are just our free two sets of free face pulls. Look. If you're being real nuanced, you'll probably say the rear delts are actually active on a lot of what we're doing, a lot of our rows, a lot of our pull downs, our pull-ups. So it's probably more than 12 sets, but I wasn't necessarily sure how to account for that, but your rear delts will be fine. Upper back. This is one I had to put in some extra stuff in, as you heard. I had to put in those cable machines and stuff, because this is something that was left a little bit low in the program. But with the changes, we're now up to 12 sets of upper back. That's including basically a set for each of the deadlifts, the RDLs and the because we're doing 3 sets of each of those, but I included 1 set for upper back. Because I think it's kind of I think if you do 3 sets of deadlift, you can say you kind of did 1 set of upper back. I think that's fair. So 12 total sets, 9 isolation, 3 compound. Then we go to lats, 17 sets of lats, some from our compound lifting, our deadlifts, and then 11 sets of isolation, that's basically our pull-ups, so 17 sets of lats. Traps, once again, I gave us basically a set for each of our deadlifts. And then 13 sets of isolation, that's just basically all our different shrugs we're doing. So 16 sets of traps, no problem. Triceps, we're kind of getting 8 sets from compounds, so that's basically our benches and our overhead presses. And then 15 sets from isolation, so these are our dips. I counted as a full set for triceps, and I think you would agree that when you do a set of dips, your triceps are on fire, even if you do them for the chest. So that's 23 sets of triceps. It's a lot of sets, but I honestly think triceps can survive it. My training has been like this for years, where I do some tricep isolation, but a bajillion compounds, and my triceps grow robustly, and I don't feel overtrained, so that's no problem. 18 sets of biceps, so 3 sets of compound. I just kind of counted the chin-ups, basically, and like a set for each of the pull-ups, and then 15 sets of isolation, which I think is totally reasonable for biceps. I think 18 sets is a good amount per week, and you'll notice we've got lots of different variation, and that's not even including the forearm work, which will recruit some of the biceps. Then you have 14 sets of isolation for forearms. That's basically just, I didn't count any of the deadlifts or any of the rows or anything because I expected you to do those with straps, or the person executing it to do it with straps, so I didn't count those, but if you end up not doing with straps, you get even more forearms, or you might not be able to hold on to anything. But 14 sets of isolation is just all our supersets and stuff. Then we have 18 sets of chest. I think that's a good amount of chest. You'll notice it's relatively similar to the lats. So that's 13 sets of compounds, basically our bench and our dumbbell bench and our dips, and then just 4 sets of isolation, which was just those cable flies we had at the end of whatever it was, Thursday. And then finally we have 8 sets of abs from compounds. So I just basically included the deadlifts, the squats, and the overhead presses there. Do you think it might be more than that? I may have miscounted. I have to go back and look at that. But basically a bunch of abs from compounds. But then we also have 15 sets of ab isolation. So that's just our supersets that we're doing, our hanging leg raises and our Russian twists and all that shit. So 23 sets of abs, which I think is a pretty solid amount of abs. That is going to give you some proper hypertrophy there. So that's, those are our total sets. And then just if you scroll over, if you happen to be looking at this program, you just see there's some notes on the notation. Just basically the dots meaning superset, X being the amount of reps, and then stuff in brackets being the rep range. And then finally, just a quick note on the progression screen. You'll know this if you've been training any amount of time. You should have been training any amount of time if you're using this program. Select weights that will put you close to failure within the rep range. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but just say it's 5 to 10. Select a weight that's going to get you close to failure for sets of 5 to 10. And then I just put a note here of what we've already talked about, is just use straps for back work if forearms are limiting you, even the tiniest bit. Even if you're wondering, like, I wonder if my forearms are limiting me here, use straps, because we've got so much forearm work, you may as well make sure your back work is of top quality. Yeah, that's basically the review of the program. Yeah, remember, it's in the description if you want it. If you want to run it, and remember, you can always use, like, adapt it, copy paste it into your own spreadsheet and change it up if you want to do that. It's a little bit like a recipe, you know. It can be good to follow a recipe to the T, but if you have some knowledge, you can kind of take the vibe and then run with it yourself. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you stuck it out this long, you must be quite interested in programming. But if you didn't and there's no one here, then that's totally fine. I had a great deal of fun just kind of reviewing it, and it helps my knowledge as well. So yeah, thanks very much, and see you later.